In this video, you will learn how to create self-signed certificates for UOS. You need the XCA tool or an equivalent tool to create these certificates. The typical scenario is that when you start a browser to access UOS, you might see a warning stating that the connection is unsecure. This happens because we use an HTTPS connection, which requires an approved certificate. Normally, these certificates are issued by an official authority, but UOS does not come with such a certificate by default. HTTPS provides encrypted communication to protect against man-in-the-middle attacks. While a direct connection is still secure since there's no risk of interception, connections over untrusted networks may not be safe as a man-in-the-middle attack becomes possible. So, how does a secure connection look? In browsers like Edge or Firefox, you'll see a secure lock icon indicating that the connection is safe. You can also check the certificate details. For example, in our case, the certificate is issued to Weidmüller and the issuer is DigiCert. However, DigiCert charges a fee to create these certificates, and since each device requires its own certificate, it can become expensive and time-consuming. Thankfully, you can create these certificates yourself. To do this, you need an authority certificate for Windows, in our case, CA-UOS, and a special individual web server certificate for the UOS device itself. Once created, you can check their validity and ensure everything is fine. So, how do we do this? Let's take a look at the XCA tool. The first step is to create a database. Choose a name that will be meaningful later, such as Weidmüller certificates, and store it in an accessible location on your computer. Protect the database with a password. When setting up the database for the first time, XCA may warn you that it's using an old cipher algorithm. Update it to the more secure AES 256 algorithm. Now, you can start creating your first template. Begin by creating the CA, Certificate Authority, also known as the root certificate. To make it easier to identify later, name it something descriptive like CA Weidmüller UOS. Fill in the standard certificate fields, such as the country, city, organization, in this case, Weidmüller, and department, International Training Center. The common name is also important, as it is what will appear in the certificate. For clarity, we'll use CA Weidmüller UOS as the common name. With the root certificate template ready, we can create another template for the TLS server certificate, which will be used for the UOS device. Name it something descriptive, like TLS server UOS, and fill in the fields: country, Germany; state, North Rhine-Westphalia; city, Detmold; organization, Weidmüller; department, ITC; and common name, UOS certificate. One key field to update is the subject alternative name, SAN, where you must add the device's IP address. Each device requires a unique certificate because its IP address will differ. Without this, the certificate won't work. After configuring the template, create new keys. Start with a key for the CA, increasing the key length to 4096 bits for better security. Then, use the CA template to create the self-signed CA certificate. Ensure the certificate name in the database is clear, such as CA Weidmüller UOS. You may backdate its validity by 1 day for immediate use. Next, create the certificate for the UOS device using the TLS server template. If a key hasn't been created for this certificate yet, the system will prompt you to generate one. Name the key something clear, like UOS key, and set its length to 4096 bits. When you create the certificate, the necessary key will automatically be associated. You should now have both the root CA certificate and the server certificate for UOS. Finally, export the keys and certificates. For UOS, export them in PEM format with the .pem extension. Ensure both the key and the certificate for UOS use the correct extension. For Windows, export the CA certificate in CRT format, which is compatible with the operating system. Now, import the certificates into both Windows and the UOS device. In Windows, use the Certificate Management tool to import the CA certificate into the appropriate store for the computer or the current user. For the UOS device, access its web interface, upload the server certificate and its corresponding key, and refresh the page. The browser should now recognize the connection as secure, indicated by the lock icon. Finally, test the connection in multiple browsers, Edge, Firefox. If the lock icon appears, your certificates are correctly configured and the connection is secure. That's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.